What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel after a huge rivalry week in college football. We are moving on to what is going to be, that's a lie. I was going to say what's going to be my final poll of the college football season, but of course I'll do one right after the playoff rankings come out, and then I will be doing one after the end of the regular season, or after the end of the national championship game as well. However, this is my last regular season college football top 25, as now we are moving into conference championship week. Really exciting week in college football, as on Sunday we are going to know who the four teams are. I apologize for not putting this video out yesterday. I've been pretty busy this week trying to fix stuff up before going to some sporting events this week. So, hey, appreciate you guys staying with me. Tomorrow, I'll have my playoff predictions and some playoff scenarios for you guys. And then on Friday, you'll have predictions to every single conference championship game. So stay tuned for that. But also make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Like, comment, share. Really anything you can help support the channel does mean a lot to me. I probably say this every video. I'm going to try to keep this one quick and simple. You guys probably all know what happened on rivalry week anyway. So let's go ahead and dive on in. But before we dive in to the top 25, we got to take a look at some honorable mentions here. Lots of group of five representation here on this list. Liberty on the list, although Liberty probably could have faded off of this list by now. But you have Troy, Coastal Carolina, who fell out after their blowout to James Madison. Heck, James Madison can even be up here. And South Alabama out of the Sun Belt. Cincinnati out of the American there as well. Very, very close to keeping themselves in the poll. You got two Big Ten teams, my apologies, in Purdue and Illinois. Oklahoma State still pretty close to getting in, as well as NC State, and then Ole Miss, after their loss to Mississippi State on Thanksgiving, dropped out this past week. So, who did end up making my top 25? Well, let's go ahead and take a look from number 25 to number 21. Of course, we always start at number 25, and we go all the way up to number 1 at number 25. How about the UTSA Roadrunners, everybody? They are back. They got another 10-win season this year. They'll be playing for the Conference USA title game on Saturday. Really, really exciting stuff to see if you are a fan of UTSA. I love the way that this program has played this year. This has been such a great story in college football, and I know it hasn't been as followed this season as it was in the prior couple of seasons, but this year, man, the UTSA Roadrunners were a pretty darn good team, and I give them a lot of props for having double-digit win seasons back-to-back. This, of course, their last season in Conference USA as they look towards the American in the future. But a really good season from UTSA. They get a chance to play for their second straight conference championship on, I believe it's Friday is when that game is taking place. So tune in to that one for sure. Mississippi State, hey, they've made the top 25 there as well. They beat their rivals in Ole Miss. They've taken a step up this season, and they have entered my top 25 poll here at number 24. I cannot remember if I've had Mississippi State ranked at all this year. No, go ahead, check that. I definitely did back in the earlier weeks of this college football season. But Mississippi State, what an incredible season they've had, and I know they're not going to play for a conference championship game or anything like that, but they had a really good season. A really good season with Will Rogers at the helm, Mike Leach definitely stepping up that program there at Mississippi State, and they have finished off the regular season at number 24. 23 here is UCF. I do like the way that the Knights are playing. They will be playing for a conference championship game as well. Of course, after that upset loss to Navy, they had to jump through some hoops in order to get through South Florida, a game that they had to win in order to play for the American Conference Championship game, and they did just that. Woo! Almost a relief there as South Florida gave UCF a very, very big scare. South Florida gave UCF really a huge, huge scare, which UCF, now that's the past couple of weeks that you have struggled and or lost to lesser opponents. UCF heading into this conference championship game, though, I feel like they feel pretty confident, so they're sitting there right now at number 23. North Carolina drops the game to their rivals in NC State. They drop down 4 spots. They are now at number 22. The Tar Heels have struggled here in the past couple of weeks. Again, they lost that game to Georgia Tech. And heading in, there were moments where it felt like North Carolina was going to take control of that game. And the Wolfpack ended up stealing it right back as they are able to go ahead and win that game. So North Carolina does drop. Hey, you get a chance to play for an ACC title this week, although it's a Clemson team that probably going to take out some of the anger after they just lost to South Carolina. We'll talk about some of those teams here in a little bit. North Carolina still feel like a really good team. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the nation in Drake May. And this is, besides UCF, when you go ahead and look at everything, besides teams that are not ranked, right? This is the lowest ranked team that will be playing in the conference championship this weekend, and I know you have teams like Purdue that are not ranked that are playing, but again, they were on the honorable mention list. So, North Carolina dropping 4 spots to number 22. We'll see what they're able to do against Clemson. Texas just misses out on a Big 12 title game, but hey, despite all that happened with Texas this year, right? The injuries in the preseason. Okay, then Quinn Ewers goes down against Alabama, a game that you almost win. Couple really close games in there as well. Quinn Ewers comes back. You end up dropping a game to TCU. You do everything you need to do after that, though, in order to play your way for a shot to get to the Big 12 championship game, and Kansas State just goes ahead and takes care of business. Texas, despite everything that has happened this year for the Longhorns, I love the way that Texas has persevered. Love the way that Texas has played. They are up to number 21 in my poll here. So Texas, like the way they're playing, they're going to get into a pretty solid bowl game themselves. It won't be a New Year's 6 bowl game, unfortunately. The only team on this board that has a chance to do that is possibly UTSA, but again, a lot of things would need to happen. I really don't think UTSA has a shot to go to a New Year's 6 game, but you do have UCF there with the shot, obviously, of course. All right, moving on to 20, verse 16. The South Carolina Gamecocks, baby, how about it? Simplifying this playoff conversation by quite a lot, might I add. They jump all the way up to number 20. They were giant killers over these next couple of weeks. Tennessee and Clemson both go down to the hands of South Carolina. Of course, they shellac Tennessee, and then they go and they hold off Clemson. They had a 1-point lead in what seemed like forever to Gamecock fans in that game, and they're able to persevere, especially defensively, and be able to pull that game out. South Carolina has been fantastic this year. At times, they've had some shaky performances in there as well, but all in all, when you look at South Carolina's season, you got to be happy with the way that they've played. Definitely a surprise, a little bit of a surprise team in the SEC for sure. They finish out the regular season 8-4, as do the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And spoiler alert, this is my highest ranked 4-loss team. I do think Notre Dame is a pretty solid team. And when you look at the losses they have, Ohio State, hey, they're going to finish in a lot of people's top 5. When you go ahead and look at some of the other losses, USC, well, that could very well be a college football playoff team. And then you have your sketchy losses, right? You have your loss to Marshall, and then you have your loss to Stanford. But you also have some really good wins in there, right? You've beaten North Carolina and Clemson. Both of them are going to play for an ACC title game. So you will have at least beaten the ACC champion. You beat, again, as I said earlier, an Ohio State team that could still sneak their way into the college football playoff. Notre Dame definitely is a team to take note of in bowl season. And I know 8-4, a lot of people are going to look at that and say Marcus Freeman underperformed this year. And yeah, they dropped 5 spots after they lost to USC. But this is still a pretty solid Notre Dame team, and Marcus Freeman has them heading in a good direction there at number 19. How about the season that Tulane has had, everybody, huh? The Green Wave. I had said in the preseason that I knew this Green Wave team was going to bounce back. And in the back of my mind, it wasn't my official prediction in the preseason, but in the back of my mind, I always said, okay, this Tulane team has got something cooking, and this could be a special season for them. And after they beat Kansas State, I could already tell, oh yeah, this Tulane team is going to go a long way. And here we are sitting there with 10 wins. They're the highest ranked group of 5 team in this poll, and they have looked fantastic all season. Most of the season. Again, you have your couple bumps in the road there with those 2 losses for Tulane. But they have been magnificent, a phenomenal and very, very fun team to watch. Michael Pratt, Tajee Spears, among some other stars on that team, especially that Green Wave defense taking over at times. They're going to be playing for the American Athletic Conference Championship game for a shot to go to most likely the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in a New Year's Six bowl game. UCLA sitting here at number 17, and for the UCLA Bruins, hey, really good season overall. You, again, hit a couple of bumps in the road. We're pretty darn close to playing for a Pac-12 title, but you know what? UCLA 9-3, an improvement from last year. Last year you were 8-4. This year you go 9-3, so a one-win improvement. What a season it was for Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Chip Kelly, and UCLA. They are here at number 17. They don't move after what happened last week against Cal. A little bit of a struggle to get past the Golden Bears, but they're able to come away with a win. I know Oregon State is not ahead of Oregon. All the people that think head-to-head is everything, you can just leave your thoughts in the comment section. But Oregon State, what a season for Jonathan Smith and company, huh? The only reason that Oregon State is not in my top 15 right now is quarterback play. I still have a question at the quarterback spot. Yes, Oregon State won a game while only completing 6 or 7 passes, which is ridiculous. And they did it against an Oregon team that likely could have been on their way to a college football playoff appearance if some things had gone differently that season. Well, for the Oregon State Beavers, what a job Jonathan Smith has done with this team. And Oregon State is going to be hanging around the Pac-12 for some years to come. Look at how the Pac-12 has done this year, everybody. That is a pretty darn deep conference, if I do say so myself. Moving in, though, to the top 15, this is where I got, my apologies, the Florida State Seminoles. All the teams you see here on screen have a record of 9-3. Florida State is at number 15. What a job Mike Norvell has done with the Seminoles after that first win against LSU, which you see where LSU is ranked on my screen. Florida State has just had a really good season. Now, again, you do have your bumps in the road there with Florida State, but all in all, look, this is the Seminole team that finally figured out its run game. Jordan Travis at times looked electric and elite. This defense really stepped up in ways this year as well. Florida State, man, I don't know quite yet if Florida State is back, because I think saying that Florida State is quote-unquote back is meaning that they're going to be competing for national titles. So I don't know that Florida State is back, but they are definitely back in a way, right? This is the Florida State team that I think is proved now, okay, hey, we are going to be able to be competitive down the line here in the next coming years. Florida State's proven that this year. They finish off the regular season at number 15. Oregon, it was all looking so good for the Ducks, ranked inside a lot of people's top 6. A lot of people's top 6, a lot of people's top 7, looking to get a shot at going to a game in the college football playoff, and then you lose to Washington, and last week you lose to Oregon State, missing out on even a conference championship game. So the Ducks will not be crowned conference champions, nor will they be heading to the college football playoff. But still, overall, for what Dan Lanning was able to do with this team after that just massive letdown, beatdown, whatever you want to call it, in week 1 against Georgia, what a season it was for the Oregon Ducks. And Bo Nix, he was fantastic this year. And Bo Nix, I think, silenced a lot of his critics, a lot of his haters. Bo Nix, I've been saying it for a pretty long time. I never thought Bo Nix was a bad quarterback, right? I always thought he was a pretty solid B-grade quarterback. And he even proved this year that he could be an A-grade quarterback. He was in the Heisman conversation at some points this year. So good job on what Dan Lanning has been able to do in his first year. Now Kenny Dillingham is going to be gone. He's going to go accept a head coaching job elsewhere. So we'll see what Oregon's able to come up with on the offensive end next year, as you will be needing a new OC and quarterback. But heading into bowl season, this is a pretty good season for the Ducks. 13 is LSU. Of course, that loss to Texas A&M ruined any shot they had of maybe sneaking into the college football playoff. So there is a playoff simplifier game yet again. But Brian Kelly, I think, silenced a lot of people, right? Brian Kelly, you can't win the big game. Well, look what he did. He went on and beat who else but Alabama. Now, again, you lose to Texas A&M at the end of the season, and I get that, but LSU overall, very, very good season. This team, don't know that they're back to 2019 form yet, and think I can definitely say they are not anywhere near 2019 form, but the way that Jaden Daniels has played and the way that some of these players have stepped up for LSU this season has been really remarkable. LSU finishes off the regular season for me at number 13. Kansas State is up here to number 12. Heading into the Big 12 championship game, are the Kansas State Wildcats a chance to fight to possibly ruin TCU's college football playoff hopes? Now, Kansas State and TCU, again, in the Big 12, everybody plays everybody. They played earlier this season, but Kansas State, what a story it was out of the Big 12. The Big 12 was kind of flipped on its head from what it's been, especially last year, but especially what it's been in the past couple of seasons. The Big 12 just got totally turned upside down. And Kansas State is one of those teams that kind of went from a little bit of a mid-tier team hanging around, pulling off an upset here and there, to now they're playing for a Big 12 title. You have to be proud of the way that Chris Kleiman and Kansas State powered through this season with all the quarterback injuries and everything that happened with them at that position. But Deuce Vaughn, really good player. They had some players on defense and in the wide receiver group step up for him. That's a really good Wildcat team when they're going to go play for a Big 12 title. Utah is going to play for a Pac-12 title thanks to their help from the Oregon State Beavers. The Utah Utes, I've been saying this for a long time, probably the best 9-3 team in college football, although I may switch that up here. I do believe that this is the highest ranked 3-loss team in my poll right now. So for the Utah Utes, you get a chance to go ruin USC's college football playoff hopes. And Utah already beat USC once this year, so they're definitely going to be able to give USC a nice run for their money. In Utah, whenever the stakes are highest, they always seem to show up, right? They always seem to show out in these big moment, big time games. That's what they're going to be looking to do here. But and again, with all they lost and all that happened with Utah this season, with Tavion Thomas taking, of course, that step back, with that tight end getting hurt, Brant Keithy getting hurt and out for the season, with just not having the style of defense that you would want. Really successful season for Utah, and if they win the Pac-12, could be heading back to yet another Rose Bowl for the second straight year. All right, heading into the top 10. Don't think it's a mystery who the top 10 teams are, just in the order you put them in, right? I feel like the top 8's pretty concise, but I got Washington here at number 10. Michael Penix, some of those wide receivers, that defense, they've been phenomenal in Washington this year. And Kalen DeBoer, oh my goodness, what a job he's done. Of course, he took he was really, really good at Fresno State last season as that head coach. Came over to Washington, got his guy in Michael Penix, and Washington took off. This is the team that had its moments where it looked not the best, but overall on the season, I mean, look, going 10-2, yeah, it's disappointing. You're not going to be playing for a conference championship game, sadly, but Washington, really, really successful season. They have a lot to build on going forward here. Washington finishes off the regular season at number 10. Clemson got upset by South Carolina last week. Yeah, that ruined their college football playoff hopes, but it didn't ruin their ACC title hopes. They will be playing for an ACC championship. And while Clemson can't go to the playoff, they are pretty much guaranteed a shot at a New Year's Six bowl game. And for the Clemson Tigers here, really, really good season for them. And again, I know what people are going to say. People are going to say this is still another disappointing year for Clemson, another year where the Tigers didn't make the college football playoff. Look, this defense was still really, really good. DJ Uiagalelei, you can't deny how much better he played this year than what he was last season. In moments, yeah, you might worry about what Cade Klubnik might be, but I thought for the most part, Klubnik was pretty solid. So you have a bright future at quarterback there if you choose to go forward with Klubnik. And, well, Clemson, pretty good season overall for them here. 10-2, not bad, not bad. They finish off in the top 10. My apologies, a graphical error. This right here should say 10-2 for the Penn State Nittany Lions. They did not skip a game. They went 10-2 this season. And Penn State, I think, put themselves back on the map. Penn State, a team that only lost 2 games this year, and they were to the 2 teams that, well, finished 1-2 in the Big Ten East, and heck, both of them could still get into the college football playoff. That's the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Michigan Wolverines. Penn State, very, very good team. this year. Sean Clifford stayed healthy. They finally got that run game figured out. In fact, I think they have one of, if not the best running back rooms in the entire country. And just look at how young it is with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, both of which are freshmen. They're going to be really, really good. Great offensive line. That defense really stepped up at times this year as well. Penn State put themselves back on the map this season, and they reminded the world of college football that Penn State is still here and Penn State still relevant in the Big Ten. 6 and 7 are a couple teams out of the SEC. You got Tennessee here at number 7. What a season it was for the Volunteers, and I know really sad news. Hendon Hooker tearing his ACL, not going to be able to play in a New Year's Six bowl game, which Tennessee will be in. Just awful. Absolutely horrible news. But if you look on the bright side for Tennessee, I mean, what a season it was, right? You end up beating Alabama, a rival that you couldn't beat for the longest time. And I know Alabama is ranked ahead of them, but again, Bama's 2 losses are by a combined, 4 points? Lost Tennessee by 3 and LSU by 1. Tennessee ended up getting embarrassed by South Carolina. Yeah, a team that is still ranked, but that's just why Tennessee is below Alabama right there. Otherwise, though, for the Tennessee Volunteers, look, tremendous, great season. Your only other loss, again, besides South Carolina, is to the reigning national champs, the Georgia Bulldogs. And you got to be happy with the way that Josh Heupel and company used this scheme. Now, you got to improve things on the defensive side, but what an offense it was to watch this season in college football. Look forward to watching it again in a New Year's Six bowl game. Alabama, playoff hopes? Probably not. I know people were talking about Bama probably being able to sneak their way in the college football playoff, but I honestly don't think it is going to happen. I think there are 5 teams that have a shot to get into the college football playoff. And again, there are 4 spots, so someone's going to go home disappointed. I don't think Alabama can get into the college football playoff, and I know 2 losses to top 13 teams, in my opinion, by a combined 4 points. Yeah, not the record that Bama fans dreamed of coming into the season, but all in all, for what they had and for the struggles they had, this was still a phenomenal season for Alabama. Anytime you can get to double-digit wins, it's a pretty darn good season. So, yeah, a disappointment when surrounding the narrative of Alabama, but still a good season overall for the Crimson Tide. As we head in to the top 5, the Ohio State Buckeyes fall all the way to number 5. After that loss to Michigan at home, look, they got out-schemed, out-coached, and most importantly, out-physicality. Jim Knowles made a game plan to stop the run, and J.J. McCarthy proved that, well, hey, you don't respect me, I'm just going to throw the ball on you. And that's exactly what Michigan was able to do on Ohio State. As you see Michigan sitting right there at number 2, Georgia at number 1. I don't think I need to explain why they're where they are. Look, phenomenal season for the Georgia Bulldogs. You're going to be back in the playoff trying to defend that national title. Michigan, phenomenal season for them. Again, Jim Harbaugh has proven that, hey, they're not the only great team, or that Ohio State's not the only great team in the Big Ten East, and that Michigan is here to stay for the coming years. A phenomenal season out of the Michigan Wolverines. They'll be playing Purdue in the Big Ten championship game and likely are a playoff lock to get into the college football playoff, no matter if they win or lose. Here are 2 teams, though, at 3 and 4 that might not necessarily be playoff locks. TCU at 3. Now, hold on, I know. In my opinion, I think TCU is in the college football playoff, win or lose, on Saturday. However, the playoff committee may not think that way, depending on whatever chaos can happen. Again, TCU, you got to keep up. TCU have been the comeback kids all year, and they got to find a way to get past Kansas State. I think, in my opinion, TCU solidified their spot in the college football playoff. An incredible, immaculate season out of Sonny Dykes and this TCU team. Their defense steps up when they need them the most. Max Duggan's playing some of the best football of his entire career. They got some great players in the skill corps like Quentin Johnson and Kendre Miller. Lots of really, really good talent for the TCU Horned Frogs. And look, that undefeated record by their name, flawless, phenomenal, and well-deserved for Sonny Dykes. And then USC, they're at number 4. Trojans got to win the Pac-12 championship game on Friday, and if they can't get that done, you probably make way for Ohio State to sneak back into the college football playoff. These are the 5 teams that we will see some combination of, in whatever order, making the college football playoff. And the playoff committee only confirmed that. I'll take you a little bit longer here to look at my top 5. Okay, and now it's gone. Here are what the playoff rankings sold out. Hey, look, same top 9 from me and the playoff committee. Really, really agree on all that there. I think they've underranked Washington. That's just my opinion. Again, you have Oregon State over Oregon. Don't have a huge problem with that. South Carolina above Texas. I have that too. I think they're undervaluing Notre Dame just a little bit. And look, I guess I get why NC State is ranked, but where's the respect to UTSA, right? They proved that they could do this last year. I feel like UTSA very deserving to be a team that is ranked in the top 25. But all in all, though, look, the important conversation that we're going to have this coming weekend are those top 5 teams, right? Georgia, Michigan, probably playoff locks. TCU, unless some really, really weird stuff happens, I think TCU is a playoff lock as well. And then it's up to USC, Ohio State, and on the slight off chance that, again, weird chaos happens, Alabama there as well. But again, I think the focus is on those top 5 teams for this championship Saturday. I know that Ohio State's not playing, but if USC were to lose or if TCU were to lose big, Buckeye fans everywhere may be getting a little excited that they can sneak back into the college football playoff. But we will absolutely see what happens. Again, pretty similar list from me and the committee. I'll go ahead and let you look at this list while I outro this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. Again, you're supporting my channel in one way by watching this video. Get it out to as many people as possible. Really, really appreciate you guys supporting me all regular season long. We still got a lot of college football, though, left to play. You got conference championship week and then bowl season. I'll be coming out with my college football playoff and New Year's Six bowl game predictions, and then some playoff scenarios that will all come out tomorrow. And remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I will see all of you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.